Depression is not real. It is entirely false. My previous video was about ADHD, and the things I talked about ADHD pretty much completely align the same things with depression. I think that depression as a clinical disease, as a pathological, fundamental, something wrong with the person's biology, something wrong with the chemicals in their brain, is not true at all. And therefore you don't need to be medicating it. I think that depression comes from, and this is nothing new said, people have said this way before me, but it's just not understood by most people, I believe, or at least there's so much backlash against it, and I just don't understand why. And people cling to depression. They cling and say, no, it is a real thing, it is a real thing, when I really don't think it is at all. I think feeling depressed, the emotion of feeling depressed is 100% real. I think that when really bad things happen in your life, the loss of loved ones, I would certainly not hope, but it would make a lot of sense that you are depressed if someone very close to you in your life passes. And you know, the thing is, it's an emotion, and you grieve, of course, but you move on. And I'm not saying you forget about the person or you forget about the trauma that you've had or whatever, but you accept it and you move beyond and you move past it, and therefore that feeling naturally dissipates. And in that way, depression is simply an emotion that you feel and something that's telling you, and it's an emotion because it's natural and it's something telling you that there's something wrong in your life or something bad in your life has happened. And therefore, it's trying to motivate you to do something to make your life better. Whether that's, whatever that is, make new connections because you lost the connection of a loved one, or, become physically fit because you're unhealthy, or earn a good living because you currently aren't, or aren't in a good, financial position in your life. And I think there's two ways about how people can go about bad things in their life or trauma. You can either identify with it and make it part of your identity and therefore have it limit you, in that, say, you lose someone really close in your life, and then, you are feeling really depressed and you stop doing the things in your life that matter, and, like, say you lose your job or you lose your income or you gain a lot of weight, and you start to blame it on what happened to you or your trauma. Oh, it was because my parent died or my friend died or this happened or that happened. And then you take it on as your identity and use it as an excuse for things to happen. Or you can alchemize that thing that happened to you in your life. Your parents died or your friend died, and you obviously grieve, but you continue to live your life and you live it even better for them. You do what, your parents or your friend would really like you to do and really respect for you for what you're doing. And you don't even have to do that. You can just do what they honestly would want you to do what you want to do, and just live your life and live your own best life. And in that way, you just continue forward and you kind of alchemize it into something good. I think of things like Black Panther, where his father dies and he goes, in my culture, death is not the end. And you can think about it in that way. Same thing with, like, Moana, how, Moana's grandparent, she believes, turns into the stingray. And there's a bunch of other examples of this. But not only can you alchemize it, but like those two examples I just gave, you can change your beliefs about it. Whatever happens, you can change your beliefs and what you think about it to make it benefit you positively. Many times in my past, I have gone injured, and in those times, since I've been, playing sports so much so in my life, I would get injured and I would have all this time away from the friends that I'm usually with playing sports, and I would have time to think and ponder about my thoughts and, who am I if not someone who plays sports? Um, Not that that was the only thing I did, but it was a big part of my life. So I'm thinking like, who am I without sports? And it leads to a lot of thoughts. And so when I, break a bone or have a surgery, I take it as a sign that something needs to change. Whether it's I haven't been doing enough, injury prevention from a physical standpoint, whether I haven't been sleeping enough, doing my diet, and it's not just the health things, but just anything in general with what needs to change. Maybe I need to stop spending so much time with sports and spend more time, you know, thinking or focusing on my future or things like that. And in retrospect, if you just keep pushing through, everything becomes a learning opportunity and a good story. All of my injuries have led to me further understanding the human body and learning how to, make that part of my body stronger. And so then, even if depression is real, if it is something fundamentally and inherently wrong with your brain that you can't produce the correct chemicals to make you feel good, I'd simply rather adopt the mindset that depression is not real. So therefore, it wouldn't be a limiting belief on me, and I could simply go about my life. Because I feel like for so many people, when they quote unquote get diagnosed with depression, it's just because things are going bad in their life in some aspect, and their body's trying to get them to change. And so then why, and you're feeling bad for a reason. You're feeling depressed for a reason. Why would you want to chemically alter your brain to make you feel good in an environment where you don't feel good from it? You have to change your environment. You have to change not only your physical environment, but your mental environment. The thoughts that you give yourself every day. Your thoughts and your actions and your identity create your life. And so I think of a quote, seeds of doubt grow into forests of inaction. And so same thing with ADHD. I think the pathological and medicalization of both ADHD and depression is fundamentally bad for almost everyone, and especially society as a whole. And I disagree with it. Those are my thoughts on depression.